Starting from a completely different place than usual, we're actually here on Dustloop for this episode. Last episode, we talked about actually finally taking some time to review and actually absorb some information rather than just playing. So I was going to show you guys Dustloop, how you're supposed to navigate it a little bit. Dustloop really is like a center place for, as you can tell, a lot of ArcSys games. So Guilty Gear being the main one right here. And we can actually just jump straight to Giovanna to actually check her out. If you've never been to Dustloop, the way it works is that each character has their own breakdown. All of their moves are here that you can actually examine, and even overviews. The main thing that we're kind of concerned about is reviewing some information that we had from last time. So for example, remember last time I was having a lot of problem with that back kick? Well, let's go actually look at it. You can see here that here it is. Here's that hitbox. Ed actually put it on the screen, but I can actually see it a lot more clearly here. How, yeah, this thing was never going to hit in the air. Like, there's just no way this is going to hit in the air. Because look at how, here's my collision box. And then this is the actual hitbox with how it would have been only slightly above where my character model is. So it's going to be really difficult to actually anti-air with that thing. So now I learned this is what you can use Dustloop for. We're going to look for some new combos. The only thing with Dustloop that you have to be careful of is that, as the note right here says, some things may not be up to date. So it's always good to double check to see if in the latest version, that combo either still works or still makes sense, because how things have changed is always going. All right, so close slash 2S, 2H. I guess 2H maybe applies enough block stun that I can actually use the overhead. And it'll OTG. Basic starter that also... Oh, so I could OTG to actually get me some more Oki. Okay, I would definitely want to write that one down because I want to check this one out for sure. The other one that I wanted to look at was 2S. 2S 5H into 214K. Okay. Pretty straightforward. But that one actually is good because I've been needing a low. So 2S 5H is probably my best low. That's just going to be easy to do straight up. It looks like if I dash with the slide, yeah, the dash momentum is necessary. So dash 2S 2H 214H. So that means that you can do the charge into 6S, which is the overhead. Yes, it should be the overhead. Then you can link 2K into 6H series. Okay, but you need the dash momentum. See, that's something to need to practice, but there's plenty of like either Oki situations or just general whiff punish moments where I could dash in 2S 2H. So that's something else to write down and double check on, because I think this could help me to at least get a reliable low if I want to whiff punish. And it should give me some pretty good... Oh, it splats in the corner too is the note here. So that's actually really nice. But I think those are the main things that I wanted to look for. I got some low starters, some ideas on my info there, and that's really good. So now that we've looked at Dustloop, let's actually check out some replays, because that's really the second place that you're going to figure out what you're looking for in terms of new moves, new combos, or just new ways to play around in neutral. If you've never used the replay function, just select the floor. Ranked, is it out yet? I know, but no. If you've never been to the replay floor, just got to set your upper and lower floor limit. And then we're going to put in Geo. Where are you, Geo? There she is. And then we search. So now let's see what matches we can actually get today. It'll actually be interesting to see him against Chip, just because what do you do when someone is faster than you and can obviously weave in and out of neutral, just like you do. So actually, it's almost like balancing out your tool set against a similar character. So let's check this out and see what we can see. Getting hit right now, just regular, charge again, trying to cover the ground here. Look, 5H, so that's a good option. Close slash, tried to jump in, couldn't make it. Let's see how they defend. Defended on the right side, but looks like they're challenged. Challenge again. Ooh, you see the speed, Chip's speed is just eating up Gia here, so that's gonna tell me about this matchup. Is that I really gotta be a little bit more preemptive in my play. But luckily, since Chip has so little health, there it goes. She caught back up. Just those safe pokes. Let's see how it follows up. The cross up. Solid option on that one. To use the deflect shield to just block against a mix-up was smart. Was definitely smart. Caught him up. Once you know your spacing, I think, on far slash and you don't whiff it, I think that's when you can really start using far slash. Ooh, it's probably trying to block the dust. Ooh, trying to go high. Looks like it was going for 2D there and got hit. The mix-up. It's really hard to defend against that, of course. Oh, just a simple go forward and just hit him. The reason why that even can work is because when you do the Roman cancel and they're screen frozen, if they were in the middle of a startup of a move, you will be able to hit them or, you know, get your move out before they even get their move out because of the screen freeze. So that's why those circumstances can happen. Alright, for me personally, regardless of the character I play, Venom can be a bit of a gremlin. Again, he's a really good zone control, like a space controlling character with all the cue balls and everything, so I always want to see how do people navigate this. I'm seeing a lot of delay air moves for sure as well. And not just, you know, jump and instantly air dash, but just delaying it a little bit. And I'm doing some solid work. I think you just have to hold it. Just gotta hold it. Oh, it jumped into the active one, unfortunately. Ooh. There's a lot of cautiousness for sure, you can tell. But technically that cautiousness plays into Venom's favor. Good convert. Again, you gotta make your hits count when it comes to Venom, especially if you finally get in. That is also a good point, is that a lot of Venoms obviously use like the fast carcass raid to try to then be able to 6P, so Geo having the advantage of the anti-anti-air super would be very beneficial in that context. Does FD not be that effective against Venom when you're in the corner? That is a good point too. Put in there. You see the 6P? Gotta be careful. That connects? Oh, that is interesting. I guess if you also have a read that they're going to try to ball set in some way, that is enough time to just give you a free drill. Because I don't think they can actually pull out the ball fast enough and recover from that before your drill already is out and active. So, good notes. All right, so now that we checked out some replays, let me actually gather my thoughts, and then I think for that, we're probably going to call it Geo for this episode. So let's go from there. All right, last segment here, and I actually wanted to go over some replays. So I took some time to play on my own instead of trying to do live commentary, because we all know how great I am at that. But I actually ended up going through a series of matches that I think are going to be good to look over, because obviously the other way of trying to learn your character is by looking at your own replays. And I actually got a really nice progression here that I actually think we should share. So we're going to do commentary on top of Ed's commentary in the video, so it's like a triple layer. We'll see how deep the rabbit hole goes. But this is a match that I'm going to show you guys against a Nago player who did a really good job of just identifying the problem with my strategy. So we're going to go over that right now to show you, but overall what you're going to see is I'm exceedingly linear in my approach, and I repeat a lot of the same options. So of course I'm trying to get him to whiff punish, right? That's my goal here. That's why the jockeying back and forth, but my spacing is off. You see me whiff a lot of buttons. I'm late on these attack buttons. That overhead is what I end up repeating over and over again in this set. But you can see me just going for the whiff punishes, but not getting the right timing on the reads. It was a good throw by me, and then I got thrown back because of that unnecessary dash that I had. This player also had a flow where he would actually do the command grab really often after a couple of blocks. And you just don't see me adapt in this set at all. This is the final match of the 3 that we had. So this player already had an idea of how I was approaching. But if you notice, I'm being exceedingly linear, right? I'm really grounded. I'm just looking for the whiff punish. And this kind of player figured out that if he's got me on block, I'm just kind of stuck and I don't do as well. So you see me here just trying to overly use the overhead, and obviously he's not falling for it most of the time. There's that command grab that I told you. And the player's doing a good job, right? Like, I can't even be mad about it. Using clone there was really smart to get in. And my super there at least got me out, but you notice my hesitations, right? Like, I'm not jumping in as sharply as I should be. That was a good backdash for me, just not a good capitalization on it. And I wasn't using FD there, so I ended up kind of getting chipped out. But as you can see, my approach was really linear, right? It was super grounded, and I was trying to use overhead a lot. And this player kind of figured out that if I go aggressive first and don't give her the opportunity to catch me whiffing, then he's going to win. And because my approach was so linear, it was very easy to kind of back me into that corner and force me to have to fight on basically his turn. So later on in the day, I wanted to show this first match that I had with another Nago player. So going into this match, having fought 2 Nago players even before this, I already had a better game plan. I had studied it out. I thought about it a lot more. This is the same day, and you can see the difference in my approach. This player was a little bit more defensive. Obviously, it's match 1, so we're going to be more defensive with each other. And I'm still looking for the whiff. I'm trying to play the game, but here I go at least in the air. I start there. Here's the clone. Was able to block it, but you can see I backdashed, already worrying about his options. Using drill to actually steal my turn back. And here I go. I use overhead, but it's a rotation. You saw me, I do close slash, delay close slash. Already showing my offense is completely different. Going for the whiff punish still. Here it goes, another cheeky throw. And now I'm just trying to use my options differently, trying to show a different face. And it works out better. And even just the fact that I started using drill, started delaying my pressure a little bit more, using the air, that was a bad tumble, but you know, still going for, it's the same rule set, right? I'm still very grounded, but I'm trying to show him a different look, trying to steal my turn even. And this player just gets kind of overloaded after a certain point and seeing my defense. And now he's just kind of blocking, he's trying to hold it out, he was trying to take a turn there. Luckily, I whiffed that one, but yeah, I'm now standing back, doing my whiff, doing the jiggle, but you can see my reactions to the whiffs are a lot better, a lot more committal, and I was able to capitalize on it. So you can see my differences in strategy. Even though like the linearness was still there, I still had some jumps ins. I started using jump a little bit more. But I also had a different rotation. Instead of going overhead, 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 I ended up actually switching that out with using drill because I was like, what do I do if my opponent is constantly blocking? And I'm like, of course, drill, I steal my turn back. If he's just going to block, then I'm just going to keep taking my turn. And so as I started doing that, because the way that I thought about it as well was recognizing that, well, Geo can't really do a high-low mix-up, right? Because her low is a very specific kind of low with 2S, and like, because 2K can't really follow up on it without like a counter hit. And 2S, while very good, also can be kind of committal. So she doesn't have a very great, I don't think, high-low game from my experience so far with her. So I was like, what can she does strike throw. So I need to use my throw. And then I also need to use, you know, my delay of attacks to be able to catch anybody mashing. And then I can steal my turn. She's a turn stealer because of something like drill. So I was like, I need to use that more. So I think he was a clear example of how I started off with a very clear problem being like, you know what, I'm using overhead, it's not working, I don't know what my options are, so I just kept using the same thing. My spacing was off, my reactions to the whiff punishes were off. I'm like, I need to sharpen this up. And then over the course of even just the same day, tightened that up, found my options, you know, reflected on it being like I should use drill, I should use a little bit more of an air approach. I should, I got to sharpen up and commit a little bit harder on my whiff punishes. So the moment I see it, just sharpen up and then boom, explode, right? So those are the things that we do to grab. And so this from here, this is refinement. Like this is kind of the last episode that I'm going to do with Geo. But overall, what I wanted to kind of illustrate here is how you can go and pick up a character, just figure out what they're doing, get a basic idea, and then you just start reflecting. You start going, all right, well, this worked, well, this didn't work. Well, this worked, and this didn't work. How do we refine? And that does take a lot of game knowledge. Obviously, if you're starting from zero, it's very hard to know what the right answer should have been in order to kind of like think it out yourself. But this is where the research comes in. Like this episode was about being like, okay, what are my better buttons? What are my better options? Let me watch some other players as well. Let me watch myself. And then I can find a better flow of options to refine. And then you enter into the refinement phase, which I'm very bad at because that's why I'm so bad at sticking with characters. But overall, I hope what this episode and like at least the beginnings of this series shows is that you can pick anybody up, give them a shot, go through the learning curve, and then you can start seeing the refinement over time. So hopefully that was fun. Hopefully that was at least interesting on how these things get broken down. And next episode, you'll see who's the next character that's going to be in this series. Later, guys.